Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Pigpen. We have a very good crew tonight, and we welcome our friend Jennifer. The professional is here, and I love Jennifer Matthews Lewis. She's one of my favorite people, and I guess I can say be thankful that she's my adopted baby sister. Welcome back, Jen. Jen, can you hear me?
Thank you. And you're one of my.
There we go. So I'm glad to have her back on here. It's been a little while, but shouldn't be too long. But I'm glad we have Jennifer back in the house anyway. So, can you hear all that, Jen? We're going to have some pretty good topics for you to comment on. And of course, we have Tom Shanahan in the house. Tommy's always there for me.
How you doing?
For a few years, and one of the nicest people in the business. Thank you. And we have Marvin, who breaks into broadcasting business the hard way with me. Oh my gosh, that's not easy, is it, Marvin? Having to deal with me and my marathon shows.
It's a blessing.
He handles it well, like a true pro. And we have Candy, who also, like Jennifer does, chicks and salsa, which preceded this show. Welcome back, Candy.
Thanks. It's always good to be here and on nothing less than that Tuesday.
There you go. All right, well, let's get going. We have a good agenda, so let's get to it. So I'm going to ask everybody, who deserved the MVP? Was it Drake May or Matthew Stafford? We'll start off with Jennifer.
Honestly, I mean, Matthew Stafford was always going to get it because the rumors were around him.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I losing my internet?
Nope, you're
Can
good.
y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Or am I losing my
Thanks,
Okay. It was always going to be Matthew Stafford just because the rumors surrounding his impending retirement. I personally feel like it should have been Drake May or Sam Darnold. I was very torn on Sam or Drake. Drake had a very rough rookie year. But I mean, you guys know this. Alton and I always said that Drake was him. Drake pretty much proved it this past season. The Super Bowl was not his best showing, no doubt. But Sam Darnold has run the gamut. He went through quarterback carousel with his first two teams in the NFL, quarterback purgatory with his first two teams in the NFL. And Steve Wilkes started to turn it around here in Carolina after Matt Toole was fired. And then Steve got him to took him with him to San Francisco, where the upward trajectory went. Then Minnesota, continued success, and now Seattle. I was and Marvin, we were having this conversation on our show the week of Super Bowl. So I know you're a huge Jets fan, so you really wanted it to be Sam too. But I was just really torn, and I was leaning more towards Sam deserving it over Drake because Drake has many more years to get it. That being said, Matthew Stafford, he's good. Don't know that he deserved it, but that's just me. I know.
All right,
Looking at your face, Scott.
You know, I had a guy on here who yesterday, this is back to back. This guy sat there and started giving Don Mattingly the time, and I went ballistic.
Throw it to me?
Huh? Yeah, I'm throwing it to you. I am, but this guy here got under my skin. It don't happen much. I'm a Matthew Stafford guy all the way around, but yeah, okay. Drake May will have his days. All right, Tommy, go to you. Candy's laughing so hard because she hasn't seen somebody on a panel get to be like this character did. But he did.
I'm very good at that, Candy. Remember that.
Yeah, you're good at it. Yeah, that's why you got away with it and slipped in today, Jen. God love you, though. But this guy, Tommy, gets to see his character tomorrow. Go ahead, Tommy. Is it May or is it Stafford? Oh, my God. I feel like last night all over it. Really feel.
Go ahead for me.
Go ahead,
okay. I'm losing. I don't know what's wrong with the internet. I'm losing some
May or
connections.
Stafford. Yeah, it seems
I could have gone with any one of the three. Stafford, Darnold, or Drake May. Did they vote on it before the season? I mean, before at the end of the regular season? At the end of
It's
the
based
Yeah,
on
because it was for regular
You know,
season.
Marvin?
Do they vote for it before the regular season? Andrew
What?
asking.
I think
What was the
Well,
question?
is it at the end of the regular
the
season
question is,
before the playoffs?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's decided before the playoffs, and then it's given
Yeah.
for Super Bowl. Yes.
right.
I would choose between Sam and Drake May, Sam Darnold and Drake May, because I understand.
Well, I'm talking
Stafford had a
Matthew
great
Stafford,
season. He
not
put up big
Sam
numbers,
Darnold.
but he was on a
Okay, just
returning good team, and the Ravens were expected to be contenders.
okay. It's fair.
But Sam Darnold had to go to a new team and pick up where he left off, winning at Minnesota, and then Drake May turned a losing team. I understand they had the fourth place schedule, and that makes it easier. But still, I think Sam Darnold and Drake May did more for their team, lifting their team, than maybe Stafford. Stafford was more of they just continued what they'd done in the past. But I don't have a problem with any one of the three winning.
Okay. So you're going with a three-way. You don't have a decision on any of them, do you? It's okay.
Not really.
I'll give
I mean,
you that
if
choice.
you asked me to pick one, I would say I would. Well, especially if we're going to pick after the Super Bowl, Sam Darnold. After the regular season, I might have voted for Drake May.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'll give you mine. Matthew Stafford's had to deal with back surgery, back injuries, and he still ended up taking them a long ways away. Take it from a guy who's been hammered with back problems for a long time. Back surgery suck. And I'm with Matthew. I've always been a Matthew person anyway. So go ahead, Candy.
If you're looking at total yards for the NFL for quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford ranked first with 5,643 passing yards this season. He also had 52 total touchdowns. Drake May had 35 touchdowns. That's a big difference. Now, I get Drake May. It's his second year. He did great. And I don't vote. I don't think MVP is, you have more chances in the future. I think what does it consist of? It consists of the games that you played in the season. I think you take Matthew Stafford off his team, I don't think the team does as well. Now, obviously, the same could be said. Sam Darnold's gone to all these different. He could go to any of those. Some people wanted to put Josh Allen even in the mixture in MVP. But I think Matthew Stafford deserved it this time. Yes, Sam Darnold did something that, who else has done that? Gone to a new team and taken his team and won the Super Bowl. It's hardly been done. But this season isn't this award isn't based on playoffs. It was based on the regular season. So I would say Matthew Stafford would get my vote for this.
What about you, Marvin?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think you got to go Matt Stafford. I couldn't imagine what the Rams would be without him. I mean, listen, you could say the same thing about Drake May, but Matt put up just in the regular season almost 5,000 yards. He had 100 more attempts than Drake May and the same amount of interceptions, and he had 11 more touchdowns. That's impressive to me. I mean, that's some kind of margin to me, especially with the touchdowns and with the interceptions compared to the attempts. So I think that the Rams had an amazing offense when they were healthy. They came on when they needed to. Stafford was clutch in the playoffs throughout the regular season, and I think he's in a tougher division. I think he's having to compete at a higher level against better teams. And, whereas May's playing against the Jets twice a year, the Dolphins twice a year. Come on, so Yeah, for me, Matt Stafford between the two.
I want to thank Jennifer Lee Cobb for Jennifer Lee Cobb in the chat room. Great comments. Great to see you, Jennifer. Glad everything is going well with you. You're definitely a friend of the show and a very good friend of mine forever. So we appreciate that. All right, let's talk about what turned out to be a 29-13 win for the Seattle. NBC was actually fetching a record prices for their Super Bowl access of $10 million. $10 million for that. All right, Jennifer Matthews, what are your thoughts about that $10 million that NBC was getting off of turned out to be probably one of the worst games, in quite a while?
You're muted.
Can you repeat
You're on
that,
mute,
Scott? I'm
Jen.
sorry. My internet was breaking up really bad.
That's okay, no problem. So did you get the question?
No.
$10 million
No.
for that 29-13 win. NBC. Yeah, that was bad, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Did
I mean,
you
that's
get the
ridiculous.
question, Jen?
No, I'm so sorry.
What's that? Okay.
I did
All right,
not.
so for what turned out to be a 29-13 win, sorry, I'm going over it with you again. No problem. So for what turned out to be a 29-13 win for Seattle, NBC actually fetched record prices for their Super Bowl 60 ad at $10 million. That's what they're going for. Isn't that absurd or what?
$10 million ads for Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. It's obnoxious.
Jen?
Or why it costs so much to go grocery
Yeah,
shopping
it's-
and to the movies.
Did you? Yeah, so that's insane. $10 million for that. All right,
It's
Tommy.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just the
Keep
onward,
keep going.
upward cycle. It's been going on for a long time. The Super Bowl just gets more expensive, and for the fans, for the advertisers, for the network, growing in popularity. And so it doesn't surprise me at all. You could double it, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Candy?
To watch the Super Bowl and to have an advertisement on the Super Bowl.
So
Yeah, that's just a boatload of money. $10 million for that.
the Super Bowl on February 8th averaged 124.9 million viewers across NBC, Peacock, Telemundo, and NFL Digital, making it the second most watched U.S. show in history. While falling just 2% short of the 2025 record, the Seahawks-Patriots game peaked at 137.8 million viewers, with Bad Bunny's halftime show drawing 128.2 million. So, yes, it's going to cost you to put ads on a show that's drawing that many views. It's going to get you that many viewers viewing your ads. It's the cost of doing business. The NFL is a business. It's all about money. Marvin, you've talked about that how many times? The NFL does it better than anybody. They market themselves for that reason, and they can get, if they can get 10 million, they're going to get 10 million. Good. Kudos to them and NBC for having the Super Bowl and the big juggernaut that we call the NFL, the big business.
Here you go, Marvin.
Listen, football is king. Sports matter. In America, we care about faith, family, and sports. And, depending upon who you are, those are all in different orders. The way we love our teams and certain sports and certain players. People are watching the game. Now that's why these advertisers are paying this big money. This is everything. This is as big as Thanksgiving, Easter, and Christmas. It is, and we know that. We don't want to say that, but it's true. It's Super Bowl is its own holiday and probably the most important to a lot of people. So especially if your team is in it. So yeah, man. People are watching. Advertisers know how to, where to get people's attention at, because everyone's meeting together in front of the TV on Super Bowl Sunday. The ad cost is just crazy. It just shows you how much money people are pouring into this game, and it shows you how valuable these players are, these teams are, this league is, and there's no sign of anything going down. I mean, they're just, as Candy said, the NFL is a money-making machine. They nobody markets themselves better. Nobody plants better seeds. Nobody's out there pushing their brand, protecting their brand like the NFL is, And it's just big business with the NFL. It's in such demand. We love football so much, and that number is going to keep going up. And along with that, like Jen said, so are the retail prices. Because we're the ones paying for those commercials when you really think about it, right? So.
All right. All right. Well, this next topic is probably dearest to me, and I have to talk about it. Okay. So give me a chance to pause for just a second, because this is something I really don't like to talk about a lot. Antoine Randall L. regrets playing in the NFL because at age 36, he already had trouble walking downstairs, would have memory lapses, along with other health scares. He says he would have chosen to play baseball and was even drafted by the Cubs in 1997. Tommy, you ought to like this one, pal. Kirk Gibson had won 2 World Series with the Tigers and the Dodgers going that route. People, this is a violent sport. That's all there is to it. I just hope Antoine Randall L. does not have the dreaded words CTE.
Are you throwing it? Yeah. Are you throwing it to me? You want me to go?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, Antoine Randall L. Do you have some? Yeah, I am. That's why I'm calling on you first, Tommy, because here's the thing.
I didn't know
Kirk Gibson bypassed.
I didn't know he had.
And now.
Yeah, I didn't know he had. I didn't know Antoine Randall. He was a great football player. Yeah, he was unstoppable in Indiana. If he'd have been on a major program, Ohio State or some other program, he would have been a household name. He was such a great player. I didn't know that he had a baseball option, but that's exactly the reason Kirk Gibson picked baseball over football.
Right.
Not just the injury factor, but he also knew he would have a longer career in baseball. Baseball players have longer careers than football players, and it's too bad he feels that way. I'm sure he must have thought he was a better football prospect than baseball, or he wouldn't have gone that way. But that's the other side of the coin on how big and popular the NFL is. It wasn't long ago that there was a lot of concern the sport was going to go the way of boxing because of all the concussions, and injuries are just another example. Right. Harry Carson is a Pro Football Hall of Fame. He wouldn't let his grandkids play football. And he's not the only former NFL player who's taken that stance. So, yeah, it's sad that he's having all these health problems. It shows you how smart Kirk Gibson was.
Yeah, it really was.
Gibson
Again,
was drafted by
could have played for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, I think they were. The Cardinals were still in St. Louis, so that wasn't a franchise you want to go to. Tigers were his hometown team. He was already being talked about having Mickey Mantle's power.
Yeah. Kirk Gibson was definitely. Yeah, that's why I brought Kirk Gibson up, because obviously the first thing that came to my mind.
Not only for longevity, but for you just never know in life how things are going to turn out.
Yeah, that's why I brought Kirk Gibson into the discussion, because he's the first person that enters my mind when I think about guys who could have played baseball. And obviously with Antoine Randall L. and the Cubs, there was a direct comparison. Again, head injuries, concussions. Jen, you've been around me a while. You know, I'm dealing with this all the time, every day. It's hard for me to deal with. What are your thoughts about the Antoine Randall L. story?
Oh, it's terrifying. My husband doesn't even remember 2024. Like, it's scary.
Yeah.
Like, he joined a travel club in 2024 and he doesn't have any recollection of it. Like, because, we were having this conversation earlier. So I understand where he's coming from. And honestly, the NFL hasn't cared enough about protecting players. It's just been in the last 5 years that they made helmet to helmet and an ejection. Really. And I'm sorry, like, I have a problem with that. I still have a problem with in 2016 us playing Denver opening night, Von Miller knocking Cam Newton out, and it was a serious KO, like serious. And Cam passed concussion protocol. Okay. Buy that. I buy that still 100%. I buy the concussions. I buy that Tua should be playing in the NFL right now. I mean, the NFL does not do enough to protect players. Have they implemented the special helmet that was created for Luke Kuechly? No. The NFL hasn't done enough to protect their players. And it bothers me. And it's bothered me since before I've been through what I've been through. And since before I knew you, Scott, with all your head trauma. And I'm not being light with that because I know it's scary. It's traumatizing. And I don't use that word lightly. It's got to be scary. And it's got to be scary for you. I know it's scary for Candy, I'm sure, when she's like, when you forget something that you said 5 minutes ago. I mean,
yeah, I know that's
yeah, I can get where he's saying that. You know? I mean, give a shit. Actually care.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. I know you and I have had our conversations and we are kind of on opposite sides of the fence when it comes to Cam. But I firmly believe it is because of Cam that our quarterbacks are protected to a higher level in the NFL now. And before that, it was Brett Favre to a degree and Tom Brady. And before that, it was Joe Montana. And before that, X, Y, and Z, you know, but yeah, they need to care more. The technology is out there to protect these players.
Well,
they need to do what the XFL was doing and send some of these plays back to New York right away. When we had XFL on, those calls were really good. They were really on point. There were more cameras in the XFL than there are for the NFL. Tell me why Vince McMahon had more. Vince McMahon does not have more money than the NFL does. They just don't.
Well, thanks for sharing everything, Jen. I totally understand where you're going through. Candy does too, and we'll turn over to Candy. He's had injuries, and Antoine Randall L. I wish him the best, and I can certainly appreciate where the guy's coming from. Go ahead, Candy.
So the one thing I didn't know about Antoine Randall L. is he not only did he play college football as a quarterback for who? The Indiana Hoosiers, who just won the championship, but he also played basketball and baseball for the Hoosiers. So think about that. He played with the Hoosiers basketball, which was, I mean, let's face it, back in the day, Indiana, the Hoosiers basketball team was it. You know, but now they've put them on the map. He was selected by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the second round of the 2002 NFL Draft. He played with the Steelers for 4 seasons as a wide receiver and return specialist. He was active in all 64 regular season games. One of the things I would say is I think we've changed some. He was a return specialist, and I think partly because of him and what he went through is why we have a different kicking game in the game now for more safety. And yes, Jen, it took a long time to get that more safety, whether you agree with the play as it is now or not. But that's part of it. Uh, I I feel bad for him. I feel bad for anybody that has the head injuries that come from football. Football is a violent game. Marvin said that a long time ago. Numerous times I've listened to him say, our bodies are not built to play this game, but yet we all watch it. Marvin will be the first to say that he loves football. He lives for football. I love watching football, but it's a violent game, and we do need to protect our players better. I don't know quite what the answer is, because yes, you can do a helmet, but you can only do so much. But it's sad to see that someone who played at an elite level, who is a Super Bowl champion, is now saying he should have rather played baseball than had the career he had in football.
Great points. Okay, Jen, you've got room for 2 more topics tonight, right? Is that all you have? I know you have about 30, 40 minutes or so. Is that usually what you have on a Tuesday night? So I got 2 after Marvin. Oh, or how much time do you have, Jen? Jen,
I can give you about 10 more minutes.
how much?
10 more minutes?
You got 2 more? You can handle 2 more?
10 more minutes.
2 topics?
Yeah, I can handle 2 more.
Yep.
2 more topics.
Okay, beautiful. All right, Marvin. Okay, Marvin, go ahead and close out this one, then we'll hit the other 2.
Okay, this is a little bit complicated, to be honest with you. First of all, my heart goes out to Roundel L, Junior Seau, Dave Dorson, people who have been really impacted by the game and just by the injuries that are brought by the game. I'm aware of these. I have my own injuries, and most players that I deal with, and I deal with quite a few, through the NFLPA, everybody has something. Okay, everybody's dealing with something. And, you ask, does the NFL care? Here we go again. The NFL is a money-making machine. They're no different from Mercedes or McDonald's or AT&T. They're in this thing to make money, all right? On one hand, they're telling us how they care about concussions, but then you hear Robert Kraft talking about we're going to go ahead and eliminate 2 preseason games. We're going to go ahead and add another 18th game on top of the Thursday games in this long season, in which is causing players to, literally lose their minds, right? So does the NFL care? Kinda. They need players, right? They don't want to scare away the parents from having their kids play the game. They need players that come through the pipeline and get to that league and keep this thing profitable. They want to expand into Europe, so they need players. So do they care? On the surface, they have to show they care. They have to, and they have to write the check, which they did, and say all the right things. But again, it's in their best business that this game goes on and is prolonged. Now, in regards to, the safety of the game is violent. The game is violent. It's meant to be violent. This is our generation. This is our era's gladiator sport. It is what it is. As a fullback, as a blocking fullback, somebody whose game was just strictly physicality, I appreciate those aspects of the game. I'm aware of, and I'm aware of the fact that the NFL lied to NFL players for years because the NFL had the concussion results. They knew the impact of concussions in the game with the players, and they didn't disclose it. Team doctors, team physicians, who should have been thinking about the oath they took, weren't disclosing everything to the players. Players had injuries they didn't even know about, and out there playing a game. The reality is this. I think that even if you told players the injuries that they could get in the game, most guys would still play because they love the game, and especially in the NFL, they love the opportunity to make the money. Okay, I've seen the game change and evolve. I think it's become somewhat of a less violent game, and if our focus is safety and we want to protect people from CTE and all that, then I guess they got to implement the things that they do. But I've seen the game change in a way that becomes unfamiliar to me. And I'm a person who has a problem when, whenever there's a hit to the head, the announcers, the team, the fans, oh, he's a dirty player. Get him out of here. That guy's playing the game. He's playing the game fast, and there are opportunities to let up, but sometimes you're going so fast and you're taught to make contact. You're taught to fly to the ball. You're taught to have major impact. So there's a contradiction there, and I hate to see these guys, who are making who are engaged in these hits, making these hits, just demonize the way they are. Like I said, I get player safety. You see, they changed the kickoff, right? I was a guy who ran down the field on kickoff, NFL and college, and I was the wedge. And I'll be honest with you, that is the only aspect of the game that I truly hated, because during kickoff, you can feel your head rattle, and it's not a good thing. And it's probably the most physical, most violent, and I don't want to say the worst, but the most difficult play in football. So taking it out to me is okay. Because again, I know what that's like. And I thought it was fun to go into A gap and hit middle linebackers. I didn't think it was fun to run down the field or be the wedge, So in regards to what Randall L's going through, my heart goes out to him. I hate to hear him say that he regrets playing football. I really hate to hear guys say that, to be honest with you. I don't, but I get it, man. I get it. Everybody's experience is a little bit different. And, I love the game, and I understand the way the game's supposed to be played and the nature of the game. And I would sign up for it 10 times over if they were paying a minimum wage and the risk was still the risk.
So I'll say this.
Okay,
I don't think every hit to the head is a dirty player. I think some are dirty plays, but I think those are actually far and few in between. I'm talking like an ejection call when it is your Michael Crabtrees, who are known dirty players, right? And because some of them are just dirty players, they're not good dudes. But some of them, like, you're going so fast, you can't stop. And I think exceptions need to be made, but you can tell when somebody's trying to stop and trying not to have that impact. At least I can.
There's an opportunity. A lot of times when you fly into the ball, there's an opportunity to let up. Sometimes it's too late. And that's a very real thing. And they call it a bang, bang play,
Yeah.
That's a real thing. So, and again, it's just the whole idea, to me, the whole idea of trying to stay away from head, neck, and letting up, it contradicts everything that is the nature of the game. Yeah. It's really weird, man. I don't think a lot of people get that. It's just, I understand why they do it, and it's fine, make the game safer, but it's a slippery slope to me. What's next? Boxing?
Okay, I need your help a little bit. I went over the Stafford.
If they're going after football, are they coming after boxing next and UFC next and soccer? Because they get a ton of concussions in soccer. So it's just, it's an attack on football to me. Because of a Will Smith movie. Don't get me started, y'all.
Okay. That's okay. I just have to. I think I had a memory lapse here. I went over the Stafford May. Is that correct? Subject earlier, right?
Yep.
I think I did. But all right.
Yes.
I just kind of forgot a little bit. All right. Thanks. Well, I'm having them too. Those memory problems, they suck. All right. So let's go to a later-hearted moment here. You want to know a super way to negotiate a contract? This was easy. The general manager was drunk. Okay. So tried to negotiate a contract with the drunk general manager. And that's the story of Kenneth Walker with John Schneider to gain some leverage. The running back. How did that work out? Well, guess what? I love the idea. You win a Super Bowl. You're drunk. Let's see if we can get a few $1 million out of the guy, right? Well, not so fast, my friend, in the eyes of Lee Corso. Because here's the latest update on that. The Seahawks obviously are not expected to place the $14.5 million franchise tag or the $11.7 million transition tag on the Super Bowl 60 MVP, Kenneth Walker III. He was in the final year of his rookie contract under $2.7 million. Marva, what are your thoughts about the fact that the guy tried to get a new contract drunk and get the general manager drunk?
All right, man. Listen, after you win a Super Bowl,
that's something you would do.
Listen, I'm gonna by any means necessary. If we can dot our I's and cross our T. I mean, dot our I's and cross the T. It is what it is, man. You know, business, and I've seen business done in a lot of different types of situations, different environments, different rooms. You know, I've seen business done when people are inebriated, on other stuff in certain situations, and it is what it is. Two people come to an agreement. It is what it is. So. Yeah, legally it wouldn't hold up if it was if they were really drunk, but I'm not shocked by that. And I think in the old NFL there was a lot of drunken GMs and agents and head coaches making deals and all kind of bathroom parlors and God knows what. So, that's just a bit of the old school to me.
That's pretty interesting. All right, Tom, he's a Michigan State guy. Is that what they teach him to do in East Lansing? Tom? I'm calling on you, Tom.
I don't know how you can let Kenneth Walker go, but everything I've heard is that they just don't want to pay a running back that much money. I find it baffling. What are the fans supposed to think when one of their most popular and productive players is no longer around, and they're treating them like I understand he was sharing carries, but in the Super Bowl he was the man. So, and it's a continuing trend in the NFL that they don't value running backs. But Kenneth Walker, I think, is a little different type guy. He's durable. He doesn't fumble. I don't know why you wouldn't want to keep that guy on your team.
How about you, Jen? Interesting way to get a raise, huh? You're on mute, Jen. Jennifer.
Jen.
All right. Well.
She's
all
having
right, well, go ahead
technical
and pick it up
difficulties
there, until she gets back. Yeah,
trying to stream at this time of night, everybody, internet is such a demand, so that's I think what we're having problems with. But can you imagine Kenneth Walker is the MVP of the Super Bowl, and his salary last year was $1.85 million, the end of his rookie contract. So now he's going to go out on the open market, a free agent. Let's face it, being the Super Bowl MVP, you have a lot of leverage. So he's going to command anywhere between $8, probably an $11 million annually. Seattle doesn't probably want to pay that. So, hey, if you're going to negotiate your contract, you're going to negotiate it anytime. If you're going to negotiate it when people are very happy and drunk, more power to you. At least, put the bug in somebody's ear. Hey, this is what I'm looking for. But so we'll see where he ends up, if he ends up back with Seattle or if he goes test a free agent and somebody else is willing to pay him more. Some teams value running backs more than others. So, but yeah, he's currently the MVP, so he's going to warrant a lot of money.
All right, we got Jennifer back. Candy will get her thoughts on this. Thanks, Jen. That's okay.
Hey, sorry about that, y'all.
Right, obviously. That's okay. No big deal. It
No.
happens. So, the question. Well, okay. Kenneth Walker III trying to get the general manager drunk to get a raise. Of course, now it looks like he'd be headed to free agency. What are your thoughts about the strategy of at least trying to do it? Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, he might need to meet in the middle, which is what's important. It's called compromise. He should compromise, but he should get a little more money because he's imperative to the Seahawks. But will he get everything he wants? No, because he's not the only player that was imperative to this one.
Right. But he's trying to get the general manager drunk.
I'm a big fan of compromise, but Right? Get the general manager drunk.
Okay.
Everybody needs to get it every once in a while.
You're getting me ready for a strawberry margarita. Candy, I got to get out of here and get me a few. It doesn't seem like any of my other sleeping medications will work. What's a smart margaritas? I got enough medications anyways to keep me drunk, and nothing will stop them except a baseball bat. Who knows if that would even work these days? I don't even know. Sorry. Well,
You're funny.
Okay, Marvin, what are your thoughts? Well, thanks. Well, I was hoping to be a comedian in my younger days, but I just fell into journalism and broadcasting. That's all. All right, Marvin, have you had a chance to talk about this? You ever tried this tactic before?
No, I said earlier, I haven't, but I've seen a lot of business done in different situations, man. So I don't think it's crazy. I think it's more normal than you think. You probably know that. You've been around a long time. And by any means necessary, man, get your money.
Yeah, even getting the general manager drunk. Okay, well, I give them the old college try for trying anyways. But as the numbers point out, the Seahawks are going to try to get some other players, and he wasn't given the transition tag or the franchise tag nonetheless. And our final topic for Jennifer, should she get back on, is this. There were more Indiana fans than Miami Hurricane fans, according to Pete Thamel. Some were saying that it was closer to 70% with the Indiana fans. Marvin, what are your thoughts about that?
You know something, for an organization, for a school who hasn't been relevant ever, and they've been around, for over 100 years, it doesn't shock me that when they finally get to the championship, everybody shows up. And then you consider they have the largest living alumni out of any school in America. They got a lot of alums who've been waiting for a long time. So, you would think that Miami being at home would obviously have that advantage, and the locals, but I'll tell you what, man, this economy, I think those tickets were going for like 3-4 G's minimum. It's tough on people out there. So yeah, it doesn't really shock me at all. This is something that the people of Indiana got together and they made it a mission. I mean, this is a big deal. You got generations of Hoosiers who've been waiting for this moment. So this is just how powerful sports are in our lives. You know what I'm saying? This ended up being, this mass exodus to Miami for the night of the championship. The state of Indiana was empty because everybody was in Miami, Florida, and you saw it.
Yeah, that sure was. It was definitely incredible to see the Hoosiers who haven't done anything dominate Hard Rock Stadium. It's just hard to believe that, what a lot of other teams couldn't do, they did manage to do, and that's beat Miami in their home park. We know Louisville did it, but that was during the regular season. But Indiana beating everybody big time, and now you had 70% of them there doing it. Tommy?
Yeah, one of the other stories about Indiana's rise was it was only 2, 3, 4 years ago before Cignetti came, and for a long time, for many years, the stadium was half empty. And I heard one commentator on a radio show talking about how his niece went to Indiana, and she said they would never go into the game. They would just party out in the parking lot. So they've gone from not being able to fill a 50,000 seat stadium to that kind of attendance at Miami. And remember, they'd been on the road for that was their second straight week in a row. Airfare, hotels are cheap, food, ticket prices. I mean, that's a lot of money from a lot of people. It is remarkable, but when your team catches fire, you never know. It is kind of an extreme case. I'll say that, though. You're not going to see that at a lot of schools.
Well, that's for sure. Well, again, Indiana had
go from a half stadium to
they go
dominating a stadium that the opposing team is their home stadium.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, that is definitely true. We want to thank Jennifer Matthews-Lewis for being on for the time that she was on. She's great. I love having Jen. She's always one of my favorite people to bring on. internet issues that happens to all of us. Candy, your thoughts on the Indiana situation?
So here's the reason. Miami's been to the national championship before. It's at their home stadium. If we look back at last year, Miami at the end didn't do very well. Indiana has steamrolled through their regular schedule and then steamrolled through the playoffs. Who wouldn't want to go see, if you're a fan of that team, who wouldn't want to go see them go undefeated and complete something that they've never done before in their history, and 50 years after their basketball team won? You know, historically, and then the other thing is, who wouldn't want to come down to Miami, Florida in January from Indiana? I mean, no offense, it's cold. You want to come down to a warmer weather. You want to come to the team. More people, I can understand it. And fans down here in Miami are fickle. I'll be honest with you. And some of them are Miami fans. You have a lot of mixture of people, and you have a lot of soccer fans down here too. So, was I surprised when I heard that there were more Indiana fans? No, because I think most Big Ten schools travel really well. Their fans, most of them, and Indiana's no slouch. The fact that they were undefeated this year, I think a lot of fans really wanted to support that.
That's true. I mean, they had a lot of things going for them. They ended up building fans along the way, especially with that undefeated mark. And obviously, you saw when I talked to Kurt Signetti about Bobby Knight, how Kurt was really enthusiastic about what took place there. Marvin, you got your thoughts in already on this, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Is that
Indiana
correct,
showed up?
Marvin? Okay, no problem. Yeah, they really sure did. Okay, so let's go on from one Signetti to another, because the Steelers are hiring former Pitt and IUP coordinator Frank Signetti to Mike McCarthy's staff. Signetti served as McCarthy's quarterbacks coach in 2018 in Green Bay. Some thoughts, Tommy, about the other Signetti going to Pittsburgh?
Well, Mike McCarthy would have had a lot of people to choose from, so he must have a lot of respect for him. He's been a coach. He's from a coaching family. The dad is in the College Football Hall of Fame for his coaching career, so it's in the blood. I don't know enough about him to say what kind of a job he's going to do at Pittsburgh, other than to say that McCarthy's not going to hire some slouch. He's going to. He had plenty of candidates to choose from.
Candy.
He was.
Candy.
I mean, let's face it. He has been. He's got a lot of coaching underneath him. He was an offensive assistant for the Chiefs. He was a quarterbacks coach for the Saints. He was offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Fresno State, North Carolina, San Francisco 49ers quarterback coach, California, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, the Rams quarterbacks coach, and then the offensive coordinator back in 2015. He was the Giants quarterbacks coach from 16 to 17, the quarterbacks coach for Green Bay in 2018. Then he went to Boston College, who was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Then he went to Pittsburgh in 2022 to 2023. Then offensive coordinator in Indiana, and now Pittsburgh Steelers. So he's been all around. He's from the Indiana / he's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But his high school was Indiana, Pennsylvania. So he's been around the league for a long time. Obviously, an offensive mind, well liked, obviously, because everybody keeps recruiting him to come to theirs. So, he began his coaching career as a graduate assistant back in 1989. So he was on his father's coaching staff where he started. So it's obviously in his blood, it's in his DNA. Kudos to him, and let's see what kind of success he has under Mike McCarthy.
Okay, Marvin.
Mike McCarthy is going to an organization that hasn't had a losing season in 19 years. With that said, he has no quarterback. And he has a defense that some will say some guys are getting old. There is pressure on Mike McCarthy on day one. All right. And what's most important for him is to bring coaches in there who he's familiar with, who he trusts, who he knows exactly what he's going to get out of them. Men who've been through the fire and men who understand what the standard is. Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning head coach. He's been to the mountaintop. He's been successful throughout his career. I thought he had a decent amount of success in Dallas, minus Super Bowl, obviously. And, I think he'll do well in Pittsburgh, but, this isn't going to be anything quick. I think that the Steelers could be looking at their first losing season in 20 years, literally. I think that's realistic for them. So, yeah, he has to get his guys in there. And Cignetti is somebody who he's worked with in Green Bay, obviously. There's a certain level of comfort, and that's just going to be part of the foundation as he's trying to build culture in his own culture, if you will, his own culture in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think that's why people should at some point or another, and I think they will after a year or two, appreciate what Mike Tomlin did. I realize that I like the choice of Mike McCarthy as a new Steelers coach. I really do. He's from the area and he's had success. You have a lot going for you there, but still, Mike Tomlin is the guy that they will appreciate over time. Maybe not right now because the results haven't been what a lot of people thought they should be right now, but I don't know. But you're right, Marvin. You have to get all your familiar people in, and that's what they've done. So everybody's spoken on this. Is that correct? Tommy, you spoke on Kurt? You talked about Frank too. Is that correct, Tommy?
Yeah.
You spoken on this one, Tommy?
Correct.
Okay. Just making sure. Sorry, folks. I'm having a few memory issues myself tonight, so every now and then I have nights like this, but it is what it is. I'm trying to fight through this Alzheimer's. I have nights that are a little better than others. Tonight's just one of those nights that I'm struggling a little bit more. So thanks for your patience. So really, really, really appreciate it. And I thank my crew members for being even better about it as well. So with that said, guess what? First game for Northwestern. They are set to host Penn State at the new Ryan Field in its inaugural game on October 2nd. We'll lead it off with you, Marvin. At long last, Northwestern's going to have a first-class ball field. What are your thoughts about that?
Man, listen, I got a lot of love for Northwestern. They recruited me heavily out of high school. My dad actually pushed for me to consider them. Great institution. And, my thing was they weren't a football school. And then they went ahead and won the Big Ten that season, and we faced them in the Rose Bowl. I'm happy for them, man. I'm happy for them. I'm happy with NIL that schools like Northwestern can get players in there, make it competitive. They've done a good job. When they had Pat Fitzgerald, they had, a nice little run. They were very respectable. And now that they have facilities, new stadium, opening up against Penn State, that's an ambitious move there. But like I said, in this new transfer portal NIL era, they may have success in their new stadium against the Penn State Lions, who are looking to get to the playoffs this year. So we'll see. But good for Northwestern.
Candy?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them. The new Ryan Field, Northwestern's new football stadium is set to open. The privately funded state-of-the-art facility is being built on the site of the former stadium in Evanston, Illinois, and is designed to offer a more intimate and modern fan experience. Seating capacity is only supposed to be 35,000. That's a reduction from the previous stadium's capacity, aiming at, again, a more intimate and engaging experience. Kudos to them. Kudos to them for picking Penn State as the one to open it with. There are some bigger schools that they could have opened it with. I'll be honest with you, the more likely, though, they'll have a better chance of winning against Penn State than some of the other Big Ten schools that they could have opened it with.
Yeah, we'll talk about more about Penn State during the offseason. We had so many coaching changes, it was difficult to get to them all, but Penn State's one that I really want to talk about. I think I talked to a Penn State guy up in Mobile, right, Candy? I believe. I'm not sure if I did or not, but we'll see. But nevertheless, it'll be an interest or a guy that we'll have to see. But all right, Tommy, your thoughts about what's going on in Evanston with the reducted stadium with Penn State as the opponent?
Yeah, well, they've needed a new stadium there for a long time. They've been trying to dress up their old stadium. It was a dump for many, many years. And the other problem they have is opposing teams, especially from the Big Ten, place like Michigan State or Ohio State, with a lot of alums in the Chicago area, the stadium. It'll be a home game. I know I've been to it when Michigan State played at Northwestern. It was like a home game for Michigan State. So they're smart to only have 35,000 seats because they're never going to have a bigger fan base following than that. But that'll be their other challenge, is to get more home fans to the games so they're not overtaken by the visiting team. And I don't know if they should have considered, since it is only a 35,000 seat stadium, their basketball arena also has been out of date for decades. I don't know if they should have considered just building a smaller dome, a 35,000 seat dome, play football and basketball there.
That's an interesting point. I like that, Tom. I really do. I mean, Syracuse actually plays football and basketball in the same arena over what used to be called the Carrier Dome. But I think that dome was actually good for 50,000 for football. But that's still an interesting idea. What do you have, Candy?
One last point that I want to make.
Candy,
the new stadium opener against Penn State on October 2nd marks exactly 100 years to the day that the original stadium, first known as Northwestern Stadium, hosted its first football game in 1926. So it's 100 years to the date.
Interesting. Well, again, Marvin, Northwestern is a journalism school. And
Correct.
Obviously, you're right. Football wasn't quite there, but if it were now, it'd be pretty good for you because now you're into journalism and you're into football. But back then, it wasn't quite the way it is. So, yeah, more power to them. I'm glad that they got that new building up there. And they made it work on the lakefront, Lake Michigan, but I'm glad they're getting that straightened out. Let's continue on. The Rams will play the 49ers in Melbourne, Australia next season in the NFL's first ever game in Australia. Marvin, some thoughts about the Rams and the Niners playing down under?
I'll tell you what, those players are not looking forward to that plane ride, man. They are not looking forward to that trip. I know you got some boys, some of them country boys don't feel comfortable going over all that water, flying over that. You look down, you don't see land. Listen, I think it's great that the NFL is expanding. I love it. I'm sure they're going to sell out if they haven't sold out already. I don't know if tickets are available, but it's going to sell out. I'm sure they're going to make it a week-long event and make it special for the people down under. And it'll be a great experience for the players as well. But like I said, the only thing them boys is not looking forward to, I already know, is that long plane ride. And that's a tough one, man. But, hey, great for the NFL to get it done. I personally, as a fan, I like the international games. I think it's a good thing. And I like the NFL trying to push that brand and push this game. And we get two premier quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, that's true too. Great opponents down under. Candy?
Marvin, to your point, the flight is going to be approximately anywhere between 15 to 16 hours.
That's crucial.
That's a long flight for these guys. Do I like the international games? I like them as long as they're in the regular season. I would like them if they wouldn't put them on these specialty premier streaming services so that everybody that doesn't subscribe to those could see them, because you're going into a stadium you've never been, you're seeing different things. So I wish they would put those on regular TV, and if you're going to stream some of the other games. But the NFL, like Marvin has said before, this is a business. And sometimes we forget about that. It's a business, and it's a business to make money. How do you make more money? You got to keep growing. And how do you grow? You got to expand. How do you expand? You go into the markets you've never been in and you promote your product. That's exactly what the NFL is doing. They're doing it better than any of the other pro sports, in my opinion. So kudos for that. But yeah, I'm excited. I wish I could afford a ticket and a flight out there and to be able to see that in person. And it wouldn't matter to me what teams you're going to put out there. But kudos to the NFL, because I do like that.
Oh, it's called bucket list, Candy. Don't forget that bucket list when you go to one of those. I haven't been to one, but for a while I did aspire to do it with the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. It never worked out. But I was actually, my buddy Dan Edwards was going to help me do it, but he retired too quick. Dan, love you though. All right, but anyways, Tommy, your thoughts about the NFL going down under?
Well, I'm not surprised the NFL is playing a game in Australia, planting its flag on another continent. I am surprised it's the Rams and 49ers, though. I mean, it's two rival franchises, and I'm surprised either one of them would give up their home game. I don't know which one they did. But usually you don't see the marquee matchups, the traditional matchups like that going overseas. The NFL just keeps expanding its reach. We've had college games in Australia. I think Stanford and Hawaii played there a couple years ago. But there's nothing surprising about it. The NFL has no boundaries.
Okay. All right. Well, tell you what, Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti says he's willing to give the next coach 5 to 6 years to win the Super Bowl. All right, Marvin, you think that's enough time?
I do, because the Ravens are loaded. They got their quarterback. They have their running back. I mean, they're bringing back many of their key players, and the most important portion of that is the quarterback, Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's the guy now. He wasn't the reason that they haven't been to the Super Bowl recently. In the playoffs, they've had some drop balls and fumbles, and they've had other players outside Lamar not show up the way they needed them to. Whereas Lamar has played spectacular in a lot of these games, particularly the last playoff game or the game that they lost to the Steelers in. But 5 to 6 years, I don't think he'll give him 5, 6 years. If that dude doesn't look like he's competent in the first 2 years, he'll be out the door. They're not, and Steve would just cut that check. They got too much on the line with Lamar. They got way too much money invested into that team for them to have to wait, 4, 5, 6 years for the playoffs. This is right now, So I'm hearing it. I think it's just him trying to, show support and let the coach feel some kind of level of comfort. But nah, this is a what have you done for me lately type of situation. No NFL organization is putting that kind of money out and waiting 6 years. He'll be out in 2 if this thing doesn't go right.
Candy?
Lamar Jackson is 29 years old from Pompano Beach, Florida. 5 to 6 years, you're talking 35-year-old quarterback. He's not going to be able to move the way he is now. So they're in a more of a win now mode. Let's face it. How many teams have given their coach 1, 2, maybe 3 years? And those are coaches that don't have the talent that the Ravens have on their team right now. He's not giving them 5 or 6 years, because if they don't win it before then, I don't see Lamar winning it. And then you're going to draft somebody new, and you're talking about trying to get somebody in there. And yes, I understand Drake May in his second year got there. That's not the norm. But yeah, I don't see them giving him 5 to 6 years. The NFL has become more of a win now. Maybe 1 to 2 years.
Okay. Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, as long as they have Lamar Jackson. Well, they got to improve. They got to fix what went wrong with their offense last year with Lamar Jackson. But as long as they have a Lamar Jackson talent
Right.
at quarterback, if they can get their defense back on track, I don't know why you need to say they'd have a 5 or 6 year plan. Did Seattle have a 5 or 6 year plan when they brought in Sam Darnold? You just don't know how things are going to break in the NFL. Injuries make such a difference, and one or two draft picks can make such a difference. The quarterback year is crucial. The Ravens are one of those teams that they're going to be a Super Bowl contender every year, and until that defense gets too old.
Yeah, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I say 2-3 years at the most. I don't know. Steve Bisciotti gave John Harbaugh 18 years, and the way he unceremoniously got rid of him. We'll leave that for tomorrow night, but I say 2 or 3 years at the most. And that person that you're talking about, by the way, is the fact that the Ravens have hired Jesse Minter as their head coach. He has signed a 5-year deal, so if he doesn't make it through that contract, he'll get the difference anyways. He reunites with the team that he coached from 2017 to 2020. He was the Chargers defensive coordinator the last 2 years. So with that said, Marvin, what are your thoughts about the hire of Jesse Minter going to Baltimore?
This was the favorite. This was the name you heard as soon as they let go of Harbaugh. It was Minter. And I guess it makes sense. It's the hire that the owner's comfortable with. That's really what it comes down to. The owner didn't feel that John was the guy. He let him walk after all those years. But, he wanted to go this route. New face, new message. Obviously, I think the Ravens have decent culture, but you're bringing a guy in who's been a part of some good coaches in Michigan and with Harbaugh in LA, and he's been in Baltimore already. So, I think it's a hire that makes sense, but ultimately what it comes down to is, can Lamar Jackson and that offense get over the hump, and hopefully this guy has a message. Hopefully he's the quarterback whisperer, team whisperer. That's really what the owner has to be thinking, is that this is the guy that can get our quarterback to the next level, get our team to the next level. Last year they had a lot of injuries on defense, so you really can't say, they had problems with defense, even though they did, but that was due to injuries. So, yeah, they're looking for a new voice. They're looking for somebody to motivate this young MVP quarterback and get this team over the hump. I like it if he likes it.
Okay. Candy?
Your coaching style has to agree with who's hiring you. And then your pedigree speaks for itself. He's been a defensive intern at Notre Dame. He was a graduate assistant at Cincinnati. He was a linebackers coach and then a defensive coordinator at Indiana State. Then he went to Georgia State. Then he went to the Ravens. He was a defensive assistant, 17 to 18. Then assistant defensive backs coach, 19. Defensive backs coach, 2020. Then he went to Vanderbilt. Then he went to Michigan. He won the CFP at Michigan. Then he went as a defensive coordinator. Then he went to Los Angeles Chargers. And so he's moved steps up every time, gotten either a bigger program, better position coach job. But the one thing I will say, we have said here, there are times coordinators are better as a coordinator. There are some coordinators that make really good head coaches. It'll remain to be seen. He's going to a really good team that has a lot of good assets. Let's see if he can mold them and get them the results on the field that they're looking for. Or is he one of those that will be better suited as always a coordinator and not a head coach? Remains to be seen.
Tommy?
I actually find it kind of strange because John Harbaugh, of course, was a great coach. But if they needed a new voice there after 16 years, that makes sense. Players get tired of listening to the same voice. And I don't think this is necessarily the case, but maybe Harbaugh lost his edge for the last couple of years, or last year, I should say.
Yeah.
But aren't you bringing in the same type guy with the same voice? That's what I find odd. Unless, John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh are different people, of course, different personalities. John's more likable. Uh, maybe Bishotti wants Jim Harbaugh's personality instead. I don't know. I think it's a strange hire.
Yeah, I find it to be an interesting one too. The only thing I can think about is he's probably a little bit younger than the others and see what kind of personality he brings in. Because the situation he's got is Lamar Jackson's one injury away, and you're back to looking for another quarterback again. Then what does Jesse do? Number one. And number two, the window of opportunity there to win is limited to a few years, as we mentioned in the last segment. So I don't know. It's an interesting hire for sure. And I think Steve Bisciotti Miller hopes that he's not paying somebody not to go away in about 2 years based on this particular hire, because that's, I don't know. I have a question mark on this hire. I have a topic that every one of us is going to talk about tonight, and I might bring it back on next week's show for a few people that were unfortunately unable to make it, but it's just too good to not talk about it. And that's this. Louisiana has had 7 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl in Super Bowl history, and they are only behind California with 13 and Pennsylvania with 9. Those numbers include, those individuals include Peyton Manning, New Orleans, Eli Manning, New Orleans, Jake Delhomme, Bo Bridge, I guess the way they, or Bro Bridge. It shows you exactly what my French is all about. And I'm going to Paris. Go figure if I can figure that language out. Terry Bradshaw from Shreveport, Doug Williams from Zachary, Stan Humphreys from Shreveport, and David Woodley. There's a name in the past, right? Shreveport. So I'll tell you one thing. That's pretty amazing for the state of Louisiana, Marvin, to have that many quarterbacks actually start in the Super Bowl.
I'm not really shocked. Listen, when it comes to high school recruiting, I think traditionally people will tell you California, Texas, and Florida is where everybody's at. Georgia absolutely is in that list. But the school that people sleep on, the state that people sleep on because of its size is Louisiana. But I tell you what, per 100 or 1,000 players, they probably have some of the best talent in America. And this is why you saw Brian Kelly leave Notre Dame to go there. This is why you saw Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss to go there. It's the ability to recruit within that state. So when you tell me that, they have half the amount of California, but they're a fraction of the size of California, I believe that. I do, because I know that state puts out real talent, and you have a ton of NFL rosters that are full of kids full of from Louisiana. One of the names on that list you mentioned, Jake Delhomme. Jake was my teammate in New Orleans. Great kid, great guy, good old country boy. I was happy to see him take the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. That was a good list you gave, Scott.
Right. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Candy?
Yeah, we all know that there's a lot of talent down here in Florida, and that everybody talks about that. But you're right, Marvin, that they don't talk about how many talents in Louisiana. I did not know that there were that many, Scott. So it's always, you come up with some of these interesting kind of, what I would say, off the wall kind of little tidbits that I like. So I would not have guessed that had you asked me that. So, but it's very interesting.
That's what happens when you work strange hours from 2 o'clock in the morning till 6, 7 in the morning, because I'm looking for this stuff. I don't know. Again, my sleep situation is as mysterious as a Riddler on Batman. You can figure me out like you can figure out the Riddler. Where did I come up with that one? I don't even know. Tommy, get me out of this. Help me.
Well, just like Marvin and Candy said, the per capita number of football players out of Louisiana is amazing because they've always turned out great players. Marshall Faulk was from Louisiana. two Manning brothers kind of inflates the total a little bit, but I don't really have much to add to that. I don't really find it surprising because Louisiana has always been a football state, and that's about it.
That's good enough. All right. Well, it's still an incredible stat. I didn't know Louisiana had that many, but people, when you watch our shows here, I make sure that you're definitely here to educate and learn. And my goal is to come up with topics that you won't hear from a lot of people out there for whatever reason. I don't know, but I'm trying to come up with stuff. Our goal is to entertain and educate, and we do the best we can here on the network to do exactly that. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, 2 more topics to go tonight. And one of them is this: the Texas athletic program, the Longhorns, lost $23 million in 2035, which was actually expected, as the program has not received a full share of the SEC revenue per the Austin American-Statesman. Some thoughts, Marvin, about Texas Longhorns?
Right. So yeah, that the last part you added there was crucial. They haven't received their fair share because these TV contracts are crazy, and these teams are about to get seriously paid. At the same time, you look at what's happening in college football, and I mean just what they're doing with the rosters and how much money they're spending in recruiting and with NIL, and I think the pay to play. I agree with. I like it, and it's definitely here to stay. But you wonder if some of these numbers that they're hitting with salaries and transfer portal and everything else, if that's really sustainable. I don't know. Time will tell. But again, their whole situation will change once they get that TV money in, because that's going to help. Obviously, float everything they have going on from the coaches to the kids and everything else. So I'm not worried about it, and I think they realize there's a payday coming for them as well. So.
Yeah, we'll wait till I'm going to hold off on this story when I have more opinions, but one that you can look forward to is the Rutgers situation is far more severe than this one. And I'll go ahead and talk about that probably next week. I did not want to talk about it tonight because I want to get more voices on it. It's a great topic. But the one here with Texas isn't a big deal because we know they're a blue blood. They have all kinds of money coming on. And you knew that they were going to deal with this for a couple of years to begin with. Plus, the exposure they're getting on the Southeastern Conference is really good and getting with that. But we'll be following up on Rutgers probably in the next week or two. With that said, Candy, give me your thoughts about the Texas Longhorns athletic program. $23 million, no big deal to them.
Due to joining the SEC, Texas received a smaller distribution, approximately $12.5 million, compared to the $60 million other members received. The department had record high spending of approximately $376 million. The loss was cushioned by accumulated surpluses, ensuring long-term stability. Despite the one-year loss, Texas remains the most valuable college football program in the nation, with an adjusted revenue of $298 million and a valuation of $2.197 billion in 2025. The financial deficit is expected to be a temporary one-year occurrence. They're still profitable. They're still making money.
Yeah, they're a money-making machine down over in Austin, that's for sure. Tommy?
Yeah, well, one thing that probably contributes to that is there a sport Texas isn't a national title contender in, men's or women? I mean, they fully fund their athletic programs top to bottom. So that's a lot of money right there. But on the other hand, they sell a lot of tickets too. They don't have as many non-revenue sports. I was just listening to something on the radio about Michigan State's baseball team going down to Texas this upcoming weekend. And the Michigan State coach was talking about how they'll be playing before 10,000 people. So they're selling a lot of tickets that other schools don't sell. But it's a completely different world with the NIL money that they're paying these athletes. Maybe we have to have salary caps somewhere along the line. I just don't see how it's sustainable. But it's going to be sustainable for a handful of schools. It's not going to be sustainable for most of them.
Yeah.
Like
Like I
Rutgers.
say, yeah, Austin, Texas, they can handle it there. And they haven't done bad in the Southeastern Conference. They really haven't. So, with that said, you know what? We're going to definitely slide in a Shanahan report. And the man that's going to give it to us is going to be on tomorrow night on the Sports page as well. We have some really good stories that we're going to address tomorrow night. You know, he'll have 2 Shanahan reports in 2 days. That's what happens. We bring him on twice. We give him 2 Shanahan reports. Mr. Shanahan, take it from there.
Go ahead with the Shanahan report now.
Yes.
Well, I posted a
Yeah, of
story
course.
on my website.
Your segment, man.
I posted a story on my website today, and I sent it to you, Candy, to post. Jesse Jackson died early today, and when I wrote Ray of Light, Jesse Jackson, I was able to interview him. He called me. His office called me back, and Jesse Jackson went to Jesse Jackson was from South Carolina. He was also a major league or a minor league baseball prospect. He was drafted by someone, or at least offered a contract by someone. But he went to Illinois to play football. Didn't work out for him there. He was a quarterback, and then he finished his career at North Carolina A&T. But anyways, Jesse Jackson told me about being 12 years old, and I've talked about this before, that he watched the 1954 Rose Bowl, and Michigan State had 2 black All-American players, Leroy Bolden and Ellis Duckett, both from Flint. Both scored touchdowns, and there were very few black players in those days in college football. And Michigan State was pretty much adopted by a lot of black fans from those 2 Rose Bowl games in 54 and 56. And Jesse Jackson was talking about the Michigan State teams of the 50s and again of the 60s because Jesse Jackson was a quarterback. He talked about Jimmy Ray and how much he was pulling for him to succeed because he knew the pressure he was under. But I have a lot of quotes. They're in chapter 1 of my book. And I also wrote this part in the acknowledgement because Jesse Jackson kind of opened my eyes about how Michigan State's Underground Railroad began with the respect they had in the South among black high school coaches. And I wrote this, Jackson emphasized to me the importance of black athletes simply being seen on television in a positive role, particularly a black quarterback such as Jimmy Ray, in an era when positive role models were otherwise non-existent or portrayed negatively. And so that's why Michigan State stood out to Jesse Jackson. That's why he cheered so hard for Jimmy Ray to succeed, because he knew the pressure he was under.
Great stuff. We'll look forward to another Shanahan report tomorrow night, Tom. Okay, around on the Sports Exchange tomorrow night. It'll be followed by preceded by the Marvin Motor City Madmouth and Marvin on the Mike show. That starts at 8:00 p.m. Eastern time. Marvin and I have a double header. And of course, Candy Evelyn gets to produce a double header. So great stuff. All right, with that said, Marvin Powell, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can catch me, Marvin Powell III. My handle is Marvin on the mic. I'm on all the major social medias. You can catch me here throughout the week with South Florida Tribune. Do 5 shows with them. You can catch me twice a week with Locked On USC, and there's some various shows where I appear as a guest.
Sounds great, Marvin. All right, Tom, let everybody know how they get a hold of you, my friend. Tom.
For me, Shanny4055 is my Twitter handle, and TomShanahan.report is the website.
Sounds great. Yeah, you can see Tom Shanahan's articles on the South Florida Tribune as well. He is a contributing writer. We appreciate the stuff he sends. Go to the South Florida Tribune and look for his drop down on it, and you'll be able to see all his great quality content. You have got to read this guy's stuff. If there's ever a person who is a valuable asset to what we do. It's his incredible history that he knows about college sports in general, not only basketball, but football as well. And we love having him on week in and week out on the network. All right, Candy, take us the rest of the way.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the media business and how it has evolved. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. It's also available on audiobooks, so wherever you get your audiobook. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And last but not least, if you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Just click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified whenever our great programming is live. Back to you, Scott.
All right. Well, we want to thank Jennifer Matthews Lewis for coming in early in the show. God bless Jennifer. She's one of my favorite people. Marvin Powell, he's my student, so I love this guy. Wherever I go, he goes. And Tom Shanahan, one of my best friends and colleagues I've had in a long time. I'm glad wherever I go, Tommy pretty much follows me as well. And he has a book. And I can't wait till the day I can see him and give him mine as well. I'm not charging you for mine, Tommy, because you're getting it free because you come on these shows. At least I can do is give you a cop, sign one. Fair enough when I see it. Okay.
Sounds
And
good.
of course, Candy Ambling, well, she's Mrs. Everything. So with that said, that does it for tonight on this edition of Inside the Pigskin. On behalf of Jennifer, Marvin, Tom, and Candy, my name is Scott Morgan off the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to replay this show, there's a lot of information. Please feel free to do so back on YouTube. Thank you very much. And a special shout out to Jennifer Lee Cobb, who participated early in there. And thanks a lot for your kind words, John. God bless. That does it tonight. And tomorrow night, we have a doubleheader. Marvin and I started off, and then we have the Sports Exchange the second half. Take care, everybody. God bless, and have yourself a great hump day. Bye now.